Palantir is a company that has benefited immensely from the AI hype that we've seen over the last couple of years, and because of that, the stock price has gone up almost 90% year to date. However, with Nvidia announcing their earnings in the past week, the question has to be had if this AI hype cycle is coming to an end, as Nvidia's stock price hardly moved after announcing impressive earnings. So in today's video, we are going to take a look at the AI market as a whole, as well as where Palantir could see growth. So if you enjoyed the video, drop a like down below, and if you want to see more videos like this one, make sure to subscribe. Palantir is a stock that when AI hype really started taking off, this company started doing very well. In December of 2022, Palantir's stock price was sitting around $6.50. However, since that time period, the stock has ran up almost 400%, with a lot of these major runs up occurring around earnings calls. And this has been a very similar trend to Nvidia. Nvidia's ran up tremendously over the last 5 years, almost up 3,000%. And a lot of these big moves in the upward direction have came around their earnings. These have been big announcements where they've seen 200+% growth on their top and bottom line numbers. However, in this past week, something seems to have changed with Nvidia. They reported their earnings on August 28th, and the report came through with top and bottom line beats of around 5%, coming through with EPS numbers of 68 cents and top line revenue of $30.04 billion. And despite these top and bottom line beats, the stock has actually fallen by almost 8% in the last week. And the main reason for this pullback in Nvidia's stock price has to do with the growth rates that we have seen over the course of the last year. They have grown by over 200% in the last 3 quarters leading up to this most recent announcement. However, in this most recent announcement, they grew revenue by only 122%. And this is a similar trend for Nvidia's EPS numbers. Year over year, they were growing their numbers at an incredible rate. For the quarter ending in April, they had 8 cents in 2023. That exploded all the way up to 60 cents in 2024. However, more recently, their growth has slowed down for EPS. They grew about 170% year over year to 67 cents of EPS in this most recent quarter. That's up year over year from 25 cents a year ago. And with growth slowing down, it becomes a little bit more predictable of where Nvidia should actually be trading at. Right now, there's been a lot of hype around this company because their growth has been so explosive. It's gone up so much in a very short period of time because of how much we have seen data centers grow in the past couple of years. And this has impacted Nvidia's business model in a major way. But now that we're seeing those numbers start to level off slightly, that is giving investors and analysts a lot better idea of where the company should be trading at. And as you'd expect, with Nvidia being the #1 player in AI, this slowdown in growth has an effect on every other company that is associated with AI, including Palantir. And the question is, how big of a market opportunity really is AI? According to Bloomberg, in June of 2023, AI was projected to become a $1.3 trillion market by 2032. And that represents a compound annual growth rate of 42% over the next 10 years. If we scroll down, we can see that generative AI revenue over the next 10 years is supposed to hit $897 billion by 2030 and then $1.3 trillion by 2032. And this is how that $1.3 trillion breaks down. Hardware is projected to be sitting at $641.7 billion by 2032, with software coming in at $280 billion, gaming sitting around $69 billion, ad spend $192 billion, and then IT services at $85 billion, and business services coming in at $34 billion. And what's a little more interesting is actually looking at these compound annual growth rates for these two main sections of AI, hardware and software. Hardware is projected to grow at 33% year over year for the next 10 years. However, software is over double that. It's expected to grow at 69% year over year for the next 10 years. And this is where Palantir lives. They live in the software area. Companies like Nvidia are primarily focused on the hardware for AI. And if you think about it, this makes a lot of sense that this growth rate would slow down. A lot of these big tech companies have built out their infrastructure by purchasing a lot of hardware. However, the next big growth sector is going to be software. And this is going to impact companies like Microsoft, like Amazon, but also also smaller companies like Palantir. However, one thing to keep in mind is how that data is trending over time. So that Bloomberg report was from June of 2023. Here in June of 2024, we can see that 2030 revenue has actually fallen from $897 billion to now sitting at $826 billion. I would expect that a lot of this slowdown has more to do with the hardware sector slowing down for AI growth versus the software sector, because we're still seeing deals that involve software like this deal that we're seeing between Palantir and Microsoft. We're likely entering a new phase for AI technology because we've seen the phase of the infrastructure build out where a lot of these big tech companies have built out their cloud infrastructure to be able to handle this new AI technology. However, over the next 1 to 2 years, I think that we'll start to see this new phase of AI technology being developed around software and different software companies coming into the ecosystem of AI and showing what they can do and how they can impact businesses' top and bottom line numbers. And I think one of the best examples of this is Palantir. Palantir signed this deal with Microsoft to provide artificial intelligence services to the defense and intelligence communities. They're planning to integrate their software with Azure OpenAI services, and ultimately I think this partnership will expose Palantir to a lot larger customer base. And this additional exposure will not only help Microsoft's business, it will also help Palantir's business in a major way. What this ultimately does is it gets Palantir's software in front of companies and using it more frequently. If you remember back a couple years ago, Palantir's biggest issue was getting customers to adopt their software. And this is why they started rolling out these boot camps that really drove home the impact that Palantir's software could have on a business. And now with Azure adopting this software, I think it becomes more and more apparent the impact that Palantir's software can have on the top and bottom lines of businesses. And the target growth area for Palantir is their commercial business. Their commercial revenue grew by 33% year over year, with their US commercial revenue growing by 55% year over year. So when you consider the fact that we're starting to see hardware for AI sales actually trail off slightly and the growth slow down, specifically with companies like Nvidia, software actually seems to be the next growth cycle for AI. And we're seeing this with Palantir specifically as they have accelerated their commercial revenue as well as their commercial customer count. We can see that right now, year over year, their commercial customer count has grown by 83% to 295 customers. So I think over the next few months, we could actually see a little bit of a slowing down in stock price growth for a lot of these AI companies just because of this slowing growth that we've seen in Nvidia. However, some of these software companies, especially like Palantir, I think could see good earnings over the next couple of quarters, and this could actually accelerate their growth and show a lot more potential on the software side of AI businesses. Right now, we have seen the building out of hardware. I think that software businesses are the potential next growth sector for AI. So keep in mind, I am a shareholder of Palantir. I was actually buying in late 2022 and early 2023. So I got in at very good prices. And right now I've seen over 200% growth in my position. It was a very small position of mine because I do think that Palantir is still a little bit of a spec stock. I think that there's some questions about how much they can actually grow. And I want to see them continue to answer that over the next couple of quarters by growing their commercial customer account. I think that's going to be the biggest thing for them to achieve. And if they can continue to do that, that is going to help this stock grow in a major way. But as always, don't buy a company just because I talked about it here on YouTube. Make sure you are doing your own research and looking into companies that meet your risk tolerance as well as your time horizon. With all of that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like down below. And if you want to see more videos like this one, make sure to subscribe. And as always, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. And for the joke of the day, what do you call a baby sheep that knows karate? Check the comments down below for the answer. Thanks for watching.